I'm Ruth. I'm assistant psychologist here at Combined, based at the Bennett Centre in the physical health psychology team at the moment. So originally I came into services it was about 2012, that's the time I was getting married. Things were kind of getting a bit much and I was really struggling, and I'd put off coming into services for a long time. I think I knew I needed that help, but it was a really big step to take, obviously, that first time coming in. So I was referred to the wellbeing service in Leek initially, when it was based in where it used to be based. So I was there for, I don't really know how long I was there for, probably about 18 months. I saw a PWP, a psychological wellbeing practitioner, for a little while, and then I got referred for CBT, and then I did CBT for about a year. So then I got discharged, and then quite a bit of time passed. I wasn't really totally right, to be honest. I benefited from the interventions, but there was a lot more work that needed to be done. I was really struggling. So it got to, I'm trying to think now, it was 2018, and I kind of hit a bit of a low. And I was just kind of like, I don't know what I'm going to do. And it kind of got to that point again when it was that like point where something had got to change, something had got to give. And I knew if I was going to move forward in my life and do the things I wanted to do, then I was going to have to address some things. I'd got quite a bit of trauma and other things, and I was like, okay, I need to do this. And I put a self-referral in the middle of the night when I plucked up the courage. And and then I got referred back to Leek, and I went straight in for CBT. And I was lucky, I saw someone really good and spent quite a bit of time with me. But then it became clear that there was a lot more things that I didn't really realise were going on, and I needed a bit of extra support. They said I was severely depressed and so many different things. And then I kind of got referred to the Ashcombe Centre, and then I was there for about 4 years. I was under a care coordinator there, James, who was amazing. And what did I do? Oh, and I accessed psychology services through that. So I had counselling, and then I accessed EMDR with the clinical psychologist there at the time as well. I think to start with, for me, it was kind of like that normalisation I think is really important, and I see this in my work now, is kind of, actually, I'm not the only person who's had these kind of experiences. I thought it was just me, and I was the only person, and I was some kind of freak or something, and it only happened to me, but actually this actually is real things, and these happen to people. So I think that was really important, and being able to talk about it, and the psychoeducation side was really important, just to be able to learn about how the problems manifest and what we can do to help. That was really important. Getting onto the right medication was really important to stabilise that anxiety. But also, I think for me, it was, I don't know, I guess accessing the right kind of therapy. Psychology is the thing that's really helped me more than anything else, to be honest. It's just helping me process some of my experiences and start to look at things in a different way, and being able to manage that, really, and kind of get that hope that there is another alternative. I think, it's been a bit of a roller coaster. There was lots of ups and lots of downs. I think, like, when I was under the wellbeing team, I think they were really supportive, and I guess what was, I suppose, the negative at wellbeing, if I split into the two different services I access, would be that although I got seen, I didn't have to wait too long, but it took me a long time to be able to get the type of help I need. It felt like I had to jump through a lot of hoops and go through a lot of different things before I could get what I really needed. So I guess it felt like, even though at that point I knew nothing about mental health, I knew nothing about psychology, I knew that it wasn't what I needed, and I knew I needed more. But it was like, until you've done this, you can't access that. And it's like, well, that's just a waste of time, really. Why can't I just get what I need now? So I feel like I wasted quite a lot of time in my life in recovery where, if I'd gone straight into what I needed, it would have helped a lot. But then at the same time, I think that particularly when I accessed, when I went back the second time and I saw Emma there, Emma was amazing with me, and she was very determined to kind of get me the right kind of help. I suppose the big things that really made a difference is that timely help when I needed it. You know, not having to wait 2 weeks to see someone till there was a slot, just being able to like, actually I need some support now, even if it's just 10-minute chat. So, and being able to access that directly, I think that's really important, because it's very off-putting to think you've basically got to go through a switchboard. So I think that was really made a massive difference. I think that was really good, and say the people I had then in my care team were very, very good. So I was really lucky. And again, I think one of the things would have made a big difference is that bit, as I say, between primary and secondary care from wellbeing, is having actually like an actual plan, so you're not having to basically stop and wait for months and then start again. So I know when I first went to the Ashcombe Centre, I was like, basically when I had my initial assessment with the psychologist, they're like, yeah, I think you need this, this and this, and then basically nothing happened. It's like, we'll see you in a month, and I'm like, okay, and we'll just have a chat, and I'm like, okay, but nothing's happening, so what's the point? I accessed the crisis team a couple of times, and there were some people there who were fantastic and really helpful, and you know, would just talk to me and then I'd be okay, or they'd reassure me. But then there was others that were completely the opposite. I had one guy say to me that basically I was old enough not to have these problems and I should be able to like look after myself, which was not what you need when you're in that kind of place. But then there were some fantastic people as well. Yeah, things got better, and then eventually I got under psychology, and I had EMDR with a psychologist, and that was life-changing. She was very good with me. It helped me process some of my traumas, and yeah, and then, you know, I managed to I got a lot better, and started working for Changes, and I got one of the peer support jobs within the trust. Have faith, have hope. It's hard at the darkest times, when you feel like you're the only one and other people don't understand. You feel like there's just something wrong with you opposed to being ill. If I can do it, and I can go from stacking shelves and being very unconfident and not being able to talk to people, and now I'm doing my doctorate and I'm a trainee psychologist, and I've done that in 3 years, that if I can do it, anyone can do it. If you want it and you think there's a little bit of a hope of a different life, then just go for it. And I feel like anything was better than suffering like I was. And my attitude's now of like, nothing could be worse than that, so I'm just going to go for it and just see what happens. And the opportunities I've had as a result I can't even explain to you how much my life's different. I think there's a lot of really good people who work in this trust that are doing the best, and a lot of the time they are fighting, and I know how hard it is and it can feel, but you know, I think, you know, there is some people who literally do change lives. I said to my first supervisor when she retired, and I kind of just said it and put it in a card, and I didn't really think about it, but then she was like, messaged me after and saying it was welling up, and I said, it's people like her who change lives for people like me, and that sums it up. Yes, there's lots of things that can be improved, and there's lots of frustrations, but also there is the ingredients there for, you know, for life changing for people, and that I'll be eternally grateful.